What's up, everybody? I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. My name's Anthony. On today's video, I got a real special one for y'all. Today we're going to talk about making your food safer to eat using spices. Stay tuned. That's right, y'all heard me correctly. Today we're going to be talking about food safety and ensuring that you can keep your food unspoiled using things like spices. Now, I know in this list later on that I mentioned, some of them are going to be herbs, but for argument's sake, we're going to go ahead and call all of these spices because they are used to spice up your food. Now, the whole reason why I'm doing this video in the first place is because one of the biggest issues that mankind has ever faced throughout its existence has been keeping food edible and fresh for as long as we possibly can. Now, refrigeration, humanity invented refrigeration, what? Using ice boxes in late 1800s, early 1900s, and the actual commercial refrigerator wasn't really invented until the teens or 20s. So when it comes down to it, refrigeration as we know it today has really only been around for 100 years. Well, what has the existence of humankind been doing before that? And that's what I want to delve into in this video. Well, I definitely wanted to make sure I mentioned to everybody out here on YouTube land, I am not a biologist, I am not a microbiologist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dietitian, and I'm not a nurse in the medical field anywhere. But the reason why I'm bringing this video up to y'all is because I can read, and I like to grow my own food, and I like to cook my own food. So this information is pertinent to me. So when I read things like this from the Quarterly Review of Biology, I wanted to go ahead and share with y'all because I think the information can absolutely help you out. Now, this paper was put out in 1998, and the title is The Antimicrobial Functions of Spices, Why Some Like It Hot. I will put a link down below so you can actually read the article talking about the paper, and then within that article you can click on and actually read the paper yourself if you are so inclined. But essentially, the purpose of the article, or the journal that they did, the research paper, was they were trying to figure out why climates closer to the equator, in the tropics, very humid, hot environments, use a lot more spices in their cooking versus cultures away from the equator. So when I'm talking about hot climates, I'm talking about places like India, Thailand, the Caribbean, places like that. When I'm talking about cold climates, I'm mentioning things like Scandinavia, Russia, Canada. All right, US and China, since they're so big geographically, they can actually be both. But I'll get into that in a little bit. Anyway, the purpose of this paper was basically to determine why are they using so many spices in the cooking. Is it for some sort of flavor profile, or was it because it actually makes the food safer? And that was what they really wanted to delve into. So the neurobiologist that actually wrote this paper really jumped hardcore into the science behind this. So in their research, they studied about 92 different countries' cookbooks to determine which spices they seem to find a lot more in common with geographical locations. Now, I'm no fool. I know that prior to the actual worldwide trade, there was only so many spices that were available. But a lot of these cookbooks come from the 1960s. So worldwide trade is pretty abundant at that point, yet we were still able to find what uses what spice primarily in their cooking. Now, what they came up with was about 30 different spices to add to your food, and they wanted to see exactly what the activity level on the bacteria content would be, because for those of you who don't know, a lot of spices out there have antimicrobial content. They can actually kill or inhibit the growth of bacteria. And that is the main reason why I'm doing this video today, because I think this information is absolutely paramount and we all need to know it. So before I jump into the list of 30 spices, I wanted to go ahead and talk about one thing that we all need to be on the same page about first. For those of you who don't know, who've never worked in a restaurant, worked in a kitchen before, who don't know this information, there is a certain temperature range that bacteria thrive in. All right, it's called the danger zone. Whenever you work in a restaurant, I've worked in restaurants, when you work in restaurants, they say you cannot store food within this temperature zone. And that zone is, if you are American, in the Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Fahrenheit to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. And for all my rest of y'all, watching from around the world, 4 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius. All right, so if you store food in between that temperature range, then that gives the bacteria an environment to where they can multiply. In as little as 20 minutes, they can double their current colony count. That's why proper food storage is so important, because if you are not currently cooking with something and you're not storing it in the best place possible, then that food is rapidly increasing in bacterial count, so much so that it's going to spoil very quickly. And that is a problem they had a lot in the later 1800s when all these cities really started coming about and they were having to transport food from the farms to the cities. Like I said earlier in the video, there were 30 spices that they saw were being shared through enough cultures to where they needed to study them. And there were 4 that stood out well above the pack because they were able to inhibit the growth of 100% of foodborne bacteria. The first one should come as no surprise because I've done multiple videos on this before, but it is garlic. These are the garlic that I harvested earlier this season. About 3 weeks ago. They are fully cured and ready to go. I've been cooking with them already. If you want to know how to grow your own garlic, check up here. I will put a link to a video I did on garlic about 2 years ago. It should absolutely help you out. But garlic was the #1 spice used to destroy bacteria while cooking food. Number 2 should not be a shocker because I think we all use this in some form of cooking. Onions. I just picked these. They're not cured yet, but hey, onion season is upon us, and yes, people have used onions for thousands of years to make their cooking safer. Number 3 is going to be allspice. We can't grow allspice here, but if you live in the tropics, Puerto Rico, Lewis, you absolutely can. So I highly suggest if you are in that area, you can grow these. You definitely start growing some allspice. And number 4, this should come as no surprise if you watch my channel regularly, but oregano. You know that I'm a humongous fan of oregano. I've done so many videos on it. I will put a link above to a video where I use oregano to make a salve, a healing salve, because in that video I talk about the healing properties of oregano. All right, so those 4 are the ones that are the absolute kings of getting rid of foodborne bacteria, 100%. Now the next 4 are at least 80% effective, and they are as follows: thyme, cinnamon, tarragon, and cumin. Now, depending on where you're from, you're probably going to recognize at least one of those. I think we all know cinnamon, but those are in a lot of dishes, especially meat dishes. You see a lot of cumin. If you are in the Latin America for sure, that is one of those things that is used quite often. They call it cumino, and it is used A, to make things taste better, but B, because it does make food a little bit safer to eat. Alright, so the next 3 are about 75% effective at killing foodborne bacteria, and they are capsaicin, any kind of hot pepper. Hot peppers have capsaicin in them, and that is what ultimately makes your food safer. So capsaicin, marjoram, and rosemary. Alright, these next 5 are going to be ones that are above 50% effective and ones that we normally see in gardens in the United States. I grow most of these. I think a lot of people do grow these, and these are ways that you can make your food taste better, but they are also ways to make it safer. It is going to be basil, sage, dill, parsley, and mint. I literally have all of those growing in my garden or around my property, and I use them in a variety of dishes. Finally, bringing up the rear. Yes, I've skipped a few. It's okay. I'll put the chart at the end of the video. But bringing up the rear, just because I know a lot of people are probably asking about it, we are bringing up citrus fruits. A lot of people use citrus because they think that it is, since it's an acid, it is completely 100% at killing bacteria. That is not the case. It is 25% effective, but it is not 100% like most people think when they think of an acid. So whenever you are putting any kind of lemon juice, orange juice, I know a lot of Cuban cooking uses orange juice, any citrus really, you are helping not only improve the flavor, because acid always makes a better complex flavor profile, but you are also making it safer to eat because the acid, like I said, kills bacteria. Okay, so I'm sure some of y'all are probably thinking, all right, Anthony, what's the point? Why are you bringing this up in a video? Quite simple, actually. If something happens, I'm not saying something will happen, but it's nice to know or have this information in your back pocket that you can use some of these around your property, because a lot of these are able to be grown anywhere. You don't have to have a certain climate for some of these. You can grow a lot of this on your house, on your property right now. So if something does happen, say the electricity goes out, we can't store things in a refrigerator, whatever, storm blows through, who cares? Whatever situation you want to put in your head. This information might be helpful if you are cooking something and you want to make sure that it is pretty clean of bad bacteria. Am I suggesting that you can take spoiled food, put some garlic, put some lemon juice and some oregano in there and everything's going to be hunky-dunky? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is if you are making a dish and you are adding things like garlic, oregano, rosemary, thyme, these things in there, then there's a pretty good chance that that food is going to last just that much longer before spoiling. Because just like human beings, bacteria and fungi are trying to break down food. All right, so you're basically in a race to break it down before they can, or get it in you so that your good bacteria in your gut can break it down before they can. So that's the entire principle here whenever it comes down to getting rid of foodborne bacteria. You want you to have a chance at eating it versus them. That's why I think this information is pertinent. So again, I'll say it, for those of you who don't know, I live in South Carolina. I live in a very hot and humid climate. However, I can grow, obviously by showing you, I can grow quite a few of these. Yeah, I can't grow cinnamon. I can't grow allspice or cloves, but I can grow rosemary, oregano, garlic, onions, because obviously I just showed them to you from picking them up. That's literally what came out of my garden. So you can grow a good amount of these regardless to where you may live. Even if you live somewhere like in Scandinavia, there are still some things that you can grow to make your food safer. And that's the entire principle of this video. I just wanted to give y'all something that you can put, like I said, in your back pocket just in case you may need it. Because hey, if we can put more spices in our food, we can make that food last just a little bit longer. Then that's less waste, less spoiling, less chances for human illness, and you can get along with your day. Cool? Alright, so I think I'm going to end the video there. It is about 102 degrees outside and I am sweating profusely, so I don't want to show that all on camera and have y'all run away screaming. So, like I said, I'm going to end the video. I'm going to put down below all of my research. That way you can read what I read and come up with your own conclusions because, hey, don't just believe some random guy on YouTube. I just want to bring y'all this attention because, hey, it's absolutely worth it. So please do me a humongous favor and give me a thumbs up if this video helped you, if you learned anything at all. Subscribe to my channel if you are not, and I will catch y'all later, okay?